Is modern feminism hurting men? Challenging the narrative of men are trash. The rise of modern feminism marks a pivotal moment in history, characterized by a fervent pursuit of gender equality, social justice, and the dismantling of patriarchal structures that have long oppressed women and marginalized genders. Yet, amid the progress and empowerment brought forth by the feminist movement, a contentious narrative has emerged, one that paints modern feminism as inherently anti-men, encapsulated by slogans such as, "Men are trash." In this study, we embark on a journey to unpack the complexities of this narrative, exploring the intersections between modern feminism, perceptions of masculinity, and male identity. By critically examining these dynamics and fostering dialogue, we aim to discern whether modern feminism is indeed causing harm to men, or if there are deeper issues at play. At the heart of our inquiry lies an acknowledgement of the multifaceted nature of feminism and its goals. Feminism, at its core, seeks to challenge and dismantle systems of oppression that perpetuate gender inequality and limit individuals' freedoms based on their gender identity. It is a movement rooted in principles of justice, equity, and inclusivity, aiming to create a world where all individuals, regardless of gender, can thrive and live free from discrimination and prejudice. However, the perception that modern feminism is anti-men has gained traction in recent years, fueled by a combination of factors including media portrayals, online discourse, and misinterpretations of feminist ideology. Slogans such as, "Men are trash," have become emblematic of this perception, sparking heated debates and polarizing opinions about the role of feminism in contemporary society. Central to our examination is an exploration of the ways in which modern feminism intersects with perceptions of masculinity and male identity. Traditional notions of masculinity often emphasize qualities such as strength, dominance, and emotional stoicism, positioning men as aggressors and providers within a patriarchal framework. Yet, modern feminism challenges these narrow definitions of masculinity, advocating for a more inclusive and expansive understanding of gender that embraces diversity and rejects harmful stereotypes. In this context, slogans such as, "Men are trash," can be seen as critiques of specific instances of male behavior that perpetuate gender-based violence, discrimination, and oppression. However, they are also interpreted by some as blanket condemnations of all men, leading to feelings of defensiveness, resentment, and alienation among certain segments of the male population. It is important to recognize that language is inherently contextual, and interpretations of a particular phrase can vary widely depending on the speaker's intentions and the broader social and cultural context. While expressions of frustration and anger may sometimes manifest as generalized statements, it is essential to engage in nuanced discussions that acknowledge the complexities of gender dynamics and avoid painting all men with the same brush. Moreover, it is crucial to recognize that critiques of masculinity are not inherently anti-men but rather seek to challenge harmful societal norms and expectations that limit individuals' freedom and agency. By dismantling rigid stereotypes and embracing a more inclusive and expansive understanding of gender, feminism offers a pathway towards liberation for people of all genders, including men. Throughout our exploration, we will interrogate the ways in which modern feminism intersects with perceptions of masculinity and male identity, seeking to understand the underlying tensions and dynamics at play. By critically examining these issues and fostering dialogue, we aim to move beyond simplistic narratives and towards a more nuanced understanding of gender relations in contemporary society. In doing so, we hope to shed light on the complexities of modern feminism and its implications for men, as well as to identify opportunities for collaboration and mutual understanding between feminists and men's rights advocates. Ultimately, our goal is to contribute to the ongoing pursuit of gender equality and social justice, creating a world where all individuals, regardless of gender, can live with dignity, respect, and freedom, exploring gender stereotypes and expectations. Gender stereotypes and expectations exert a profound influence on individuals' perceptions of themselves and others. From an early age, men are socialized to conform to rigid norms of masculinity, which dictate behaviors, emotions, and relationships. However, modern feminism challenges these stereotypes by advocating for gender equality and challenging traditional gender roles. By promoting inclusivity, empathy, and understanding, modern feminism seeks to dismantle harmful stereotypes and create a more equitable and compassionate society for all genders. Addressing toxic masculinity. One of the central tenets of modern feminism is the critique of toxic masculinity, the harmful behaviors and attitudes associated with traditional notions of manhood. Toxic masculinity perpetuates a culture of aggression, dominance, and emotional suppression, which can have detrimental effects on men's mental health and well-being. By challenging toxic masculinity and promoting healthier models of masculinity, modern feminism seeks to create space for men to express themselves authentically, without fear of judgment or ridicule. Examining language and discourse. The slogan, "Men are trash," has become emblematic of a perceived anti-men sentiment within modern feminism. While this phrase is often used to critique specific instances of male behavior, it can also be interpreted as a blanket condemnation of all men, perpetuating divisiveness and hostility between the genders. However, it's important to recognize that language is nuanced and context dependent, and not all expressions of frustration or anger should be equated with hostility towards men as a whole. By fostering a deeper understanding of language and discourse, we can navigate the complexities of gender relations with greater empathy and insight. The slogan, "Men are trash," exemplifies the power of language to provoke strong reactions and spark contentious debates. While some may argue that such phrases perpetuate divisiveness and reinforce negative stereotypes, others see them as a form of catharsis and empowerment for marginalized voices within the feminist movement. It is crucial to recognize that language is inherently contextual, and interpretations of a particular phrase can vary widely depending on the speaker's intentions and the broader social and cultural context. While expressions of frustration and anger may sometimes manifest as generalized statements, it is essential to engage in nuanced discussions that acknowledge the complexities of gender dynamics and avoid painting all men with the same brush. By fostering open dialogue and promoting mutual understanding, we can create space for diverse perspectives to coexist and intersect, rather than dismissing or vilifying opposing viewpoints. We can seek common ground and work towards building bridges of empathy and solidarity. This requires active listening, empathy, and a willingness to engage in uncomfortable conversations about power, privilege, and accountability. Moreover, it is important to recognize that critiques of masculinity are not inherently anti-men but rather seek to challenge harmful societal norms and expectations that limit individuals' freedom and agency. By dismantling rigid stereotypes and embracing a more inclusive and expansive understanding of gender, we can create a world where all individuals, regardless of gender, are free to express themselves authentically and fully. In this vein, initiatives that promote positive masculinity offer a promising path forward. By highlighting examples of healthy and affirming masculinity, We can counteract harmful stereotypes and empower individuals to redefine what it means to be a man in today's society. From promoting emotional literacy and empathy to challenging toxic notions of dominance and aggression, positive masculinity initiatives have the potential to foster healthier and more equitable relationships between the genders. Ultimately, our examination of language and discourse underscores the importance of fostering empathy, understanding, and mutual respect in our interactions with others. By approaching conversations about gender with humility and openness, we can create space for diverse voices to be heard and valued. Through this process, we can move towards a more equitable and inclusive society where individuals of all genders can thrive and fulfill their potential. Navigating complex dynamics. The relationship between modern feminism and its impact on men is multifaceted and complex, influenced by a myriad of social, cultural, and historical factors. While some men may feel threatened or marginalized by feminist discourse, it's essential to recognize that the ultimate goal of feminism is not to diminish men but to advocate for equality and justice for all genders. By acknowledging the intersecting systems of power and privilege that shape our experiences, we can foster empathy and understanding across gender lines, working together to dismantle oppressive structures and create a more equitable world for future generations. Promoting dialogue and collaboration. Constructive dialogue and collaboration between feminists and men's rights advocates can bridge ideological divides and foster mutual understanding. Rather than viewing feminism and men's issues as opposing forces, we can recognize the interconnectedness of gender equality and advocate for solutions that benefit everyone. By challenging harmful stereotypes, addressing systemic inequalities, and promoting empathy and inclusivity, we can create space for diverse perspectives and collective action towards a more just and equitable society. Empowering personal agency. At its core, feminism is about empowering individuals to challenge injustice and advocate for change. Men who feel disenfranchised or marginalized by feminist discourse have the agency to engage critically with feminist principles and contribute to ongoing discussions about gender equality. By embracing vulnerability, empathy, and self-reflection, men can interrogate their own privilege and work towards becoming allies in the fight for gender justice. Together, we can create a future where all individuals, regardless of gender, can live free from discrimination and oppression. In conclusion, the narrative that modern feminism is inherently anti-men and perpetuates the notion of men are trash oversimplifies the complex landscape of gender relations and the goals of the feminist movement. While it is undeniable that there are instances where feminist discourse may inadvertently alienate or marginalize men, it is essential to recognize that the overarching objective of modern feminism is to challenge patriarchal structures and advocate for gender equality for all individuals. At the heart of feminism lies a commitment to dismantling systems of oppression that perpetuate inequality and discrimination based on gender. Patriarchal norms and expectations not only harm women and marginalized genders but also constrain men within narrow and harmful stereotypes of masculinity. By challenging these rigid gender norms, feminism seeks to create a world where all individuals are free to express themselves authentically and live without fear of discrimination or violence. It is crucial to acknowledge that the slogan, "Men are trash," does not represent the entirety of feminist discourse nor encapsulate the diverse perspectives within the feminist movement. While this phrase may be used by some as a form of protest or critique against specific instances of male behavior, it does not reflect the nuanced and multifaceted approach that many feminists take towards issues of gender and identity. Moreover, it is important to recognize that expressions of frustration and anger within feminist discourse are often rooted in lived experiences of oppression and marginalization. Women and marginalized genders have long been subjected to systemic violence, discrimination, and erasure, and their anger is a legitimate response to these injustices. However, it is essential to channel this anger constructively towards challenging oppressive structures and fostering positive change, rather than perpetuating divisiveness and hostility. Moving forward, fostering empathy, understanding, and dialogue is essential in transcending divisive rhetoric and building bridges of solidarity between feminists and men. Rather than viewing feminism as inherently adversarial towards men, it is crucial to recognize that gender equality benefits everyone, and that men also have a stake in challenging patriarchal norms and expectations. By engaging in open and honest conversations about gender, privilege, and power, we can create space for diverse perspectives to be heard and valued. This requires active listening, humility, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about the ways in which gender inequality impacts individuals of all genders. Moreover, promoting positive forms of masculinity is essential in challenging harmful stereotypes and empowering men to redefine what it means to be a man in today's society. From promoting emotional literacy and vulnerability to challenging toxic notions of dominance and aggression, positive masculinity initiatives have the potential to create healthier and more equitable relationships between genders. Ultimately, our goal is to work towards a more inclusive and equitable society where all individuals, regardless of gender, can thrive and fulfill their potential. This requires collective action and solidarity across genders, as well as a commitment to challenging oppressive structures and fostering a culture of respect, empathy, and understanding. In conclusion, the narrative that modern feminism is inherently anti-men and perpetuates the notion of men are trash overlooks the nuance and multifaceted approach that many feminists take towards issues of gender and identity. By fostering empathy, understanding, and dialogue, we can transcend divisive rhetoric and work towards a more inclusive and equitable society where all individuals, regardless of gender, can thrive.